So in this case, I want us to consider what we have on the hire purchase agreements as we are to work with our finance and growth. We also need to understand this part of a hire purchase agreement. What is it that we are to consider when something has been bought under a hire purchase? This is an agreement that actually can happen if you are to consider can be like a short-term loan that can be considered. Let's say you are to buy a certain product. You want to buy a certain product. Maybe it's furniture that you are to consider. Maybe you are to talk of home appliances that you have, anything. Maybe it's a fridge. You want to buy a certain product, but it has a given price that is a price tag. Maybe it's a furniture that you want to buy and the price that is being required is 15,000 Rand. But you see that instead of paying cash, paying straight this amount, you can choose to deposit a certain amount which is given as a percentage of what is the price that is indicated there. You deposit a certain percentage. After that deposit, definitely there is a remaining amount, guys. There's a balance that will remain. But in actual sense, you'll be thinking, all right, since let us just say I've got something that is being sold at 10,000. Okay, this is what most people think. You pay a deposit of 1,000, okay, which is a percentage that you'll be given there. Maybe you are given a deposit of 10%. Then you calculate 10% of this amount. I just want you to get the sense of what I'm trying to explain here, what I'm going to explain later on. And you get 1,000. Meaning to say what is remaining, well, this is what has been paid. You paid 1,000. So what is remaining is the balance now, which is simply the difference. What you were supposed to pay, 10,000, minus what you paid, which is 1,000. So you are remaining with 9,000 to be paid. So in most cases, people think that, okay, so if I'm remaining with this 9,000, I'm going to repay it monthly to say, okay, 9,000, how many months am I going to pay the 9,000 that is remaining? No, it is not like that. A hire purchase, you have the product, you are using that. So they are going to give a percentage interest rate on this balance that we are seeing, this one. We are not going to pay it as it is. It is going to be paid with the interest, this one. It is going to be paid with interest. So as long it is going to be paid with interest, that means on a hire purchase loan, we are going to consider calculations of the interest. But which of the interest now that we are going to use? Remember on the introduction of the simple interest, I talked about this, that hire purchases, agreements, they also follow under the simple interest. So under a hire purchase agreement, simple interest is used. All right, so that is what you're going to have. So one, like I said, there is a deposit that is going to be made. A deposit is made or is paid, which is a percentage of the original price, percentage of the original price. That is what is going to happen. Then you are going to remain with a balance in that case. And this balance is repaid, is going to be repaid with interest, like I said. Is we are going to have interest in that. For you to pay up the balance that is remaining, it is going to be paid with interest. And thus, we are going to apply the simple interest. So in our calculations, we are going to use the simple interest formula in our calculations. We use the simple interest. It is increasing, or it's going to be increasing using the simple interest. So using the simple interest, it follows that the amount is going to be given as P into 1 plus IN. Let's go back to this and try to analyze what is it going to be used for. Remember, this is the balance that is remaining to be paid. You are supposed to pay that, but you are no longer paying it direct. It is going to be paid with an interest. So meaning to say this P that we are seeing here is the balance that was remaining there. That is your balanced P, the principal. And A is the amount, the accumulated amount to be paid, this one. That will be your accumulated amount to be repaid. That is what you're supposed to pay back. After whatever that you have, after the number of years that what are you going to pay? The interest rate, the number of years, that part is not going to change. So that is, they are going to calculate from the number of years given, what are you supposed to pay? What are you supposed to pay? This is what you're supposed to pay back. But you're not going to pay this direct or just, okay, this is the amount. You're going to pay it in a monthly, this part that you're going to have, the accumulated amount is to be repaid monthly. So if it is to be repaid monthly, it means monthly, it is going to be the accumulated amount to be repaid over what? The number of months. Over the number of months that you're going to take. Over the number of months to pay the loan. That is the number of months. These ones are representing the number of months to pay this accumulated amount. So these are the most important part that you need. Yes, you might be given some other additionals. If there is any additional, you have to add any additional information, any additional that you are given. Is it insurance that you are given? They can give you anything that might be paid monthly, but the monthly is supposed to be from that amount that accumulated over the number of months. That is, you have got the monthly amount that is supposed to be paid back. Like I said, it's gonna be paid back in the form of what? In form, in like monthly, not to say once you just take that amount and you pay back. No. So these are the typical questions. You want to get rid of this, like just a summary. You need a deposit, a balance, then the amount that has accumulated over that number of years that you're given. So in this question, you're given that Vanessa buys a laptop costing 16,000 Rand. A laptop cost 16,000 Rand. She pays 10% deposit and then takes out 24 months hire purchase loan on the balance. So it's a loan. That is why it has an interest. The interest rate charged on the loan is 22% per year. Simple interest. Calculate your monthly payments and what she will actually pay for the laptop for this computer. What is she going to pay later on? Actually, what is she going to under a hire purchase? Because a hire purchase, you're going to pay more than what you could have paid on the original price. All right, so these are the stages. Like I said, you need deposit first. All this in exam, they can ask these questions stage by stage. They'll ask you deposit. They'll ask you to calculate the balance. They will ask you now to calculate the monthly. Under exam condition, they can try to give because they want you to some this part of marks. But this is not an exam question. This is just a typical question that you're given. So you must follow these stages. All right, so let's see. The amount that is supposed of the laptop is 16,000. So let's talk of the deposit first. As we saw there, you need the deposit. So the deposit there is 10% of the amount, 10% of this 16,000 rand that you are given, the amount of the laptop that you are given. So that's 10 over 100 times 16,000. That's the 10%. So that was going to give us 1,600. So meaning to say, she deposited 1,600. This is her deposit. That is what she deposited. But let's take a closer look. Once she deposited this amount, there is a balance that is remaining out of the amount that she was supposed to pay, the 16,000. We are supposed to subtract now the deposit. This is what she deposited. So subtract that, 1,600. You are going to obtain 14,400 as the balance. And like I said, this balance, you are not going to repay it as it is. You are going to repay it with an interest. That is where we are going to take that balance as our principal to calculate the amount to be repaid now, because this is a loan. So using the simple interest, this balance is our P, that's our principal. So it follows that the amount to be repaid is P into 1 plus IN using the simple interest formula. So that's A is equal to P, the balance to be repaid, 14,400 into 1 plus the interest rate, guys. As we are given here, it's 22% per annum divided by 100. That's 0.22 times the number of years. So take note, these repayments that she is going to make, they are in or they are out of 24 months. 24 months. We are given the number of months, not the years. This is any number of years. Number of years. So 24 months is how many years? So that is the question. You have to divide by what? By 12. So this is simply 2 years. So the N that you're going to use is the number of years. All right, guys, I talked about how to use your calculator. Just simplify, direct on your calculator. This was going to give us the accumulated amount, which was going to be 20,736, which is the amount that is supposed to be paid in 2 years. This is what is supposed to be paid in what? In 2 years. In 24 months, she's supposed to pay this amount, not 14,400. No, you do not pay the balance. You pay the balance with interest in it. So that is the question there. So the question is, if this is having an interest, therefore it's supposed to increase. That's why you see this bigger value that we are seeing. But what will be the monthly? Because the question was there. Calculate year monthly payments. So that's for monthly. We are going to have what? That's for monthly. We are going to have the amount to be repaid. That is to be paid in what? In 2 years, which is 20,000, right? 736 over what? We are not going to divide by the number of years because it's monthly. So you have to divide by the number of months. Already we are told is 24 months, which is the one that we obtain the 2 there. So already you're told that is what? Is 24 months. So meaning to say, out of these 24 months, in each month, she is going to be paying how much? That is going to give you 864. That is per month. So this amount is per month. It is per month. So if there is any insurance and whatever that you're given there, you consider that insurance. But in this case, we do not have anything. They do not just want this amount that she's going to pay per month also, and what she will actually pay for the computer. So what is she going to actually pay? So the actual payment is going to be like this, guys. This is what we are going to have at the end. The actual payment. One, remember, she deposited a 10% there, a deposit. This one is already paid. She paid this 1,600. So meaning to say, we are going to have a deposit of 1,600. This is our deposit in that case. We've got a deposit there, plus the amount that is to be repaid. Remember, this was supposed to be the balance, but it's no longer like that way. She's going to pay this amount of 20,736, which is 864 per month. So if you wanted to use, you're going to use 864 times the number of months, which is what? 24. But instead, because we have it here as 20, this one, it's already there. The amount to be paid in 2 years, we already have this. So we're going to add, that is 20,736. So we are adding our A in this case, which is the accumulated amount to be repaid in 2 years. So that was going to give us the amount that he is going to, that she's going to actually pay at the end. So this is what you have. All right, so let us just have our calculator here. So it was just going to be 1,600. Just add this to 1,600 plus 20,736. So this was going to be 22,336 rand as the total. So that is what she was going to pay at the end. The laptop, which was supposed to be paid 16,000 on cash, but because of the hire purchase agreement, the money, the amount is going to be more than. So she's going to be now paying 22,336 rand. All right, so this is what you were supposed to just have attempted this one. Let us check another question. On our hire purchase, we are given that Mike buys a mobile phone costing 8,000. So there we are given the amount that is cost them 18,000 on hire purchase, which is HP. Then we are given that pays a deposit of, so already there, the deposit was paid. This is the deposit. It's not like a percentage like what we were given before. It's already given there. The deposit is already there. Remember the relationship that we had before of this amount of the cost of the machine on hire purchase that you are given, and the deposit that it gives us the balance. So from there, we have the balance there, which is 8,000 minus the deposit of 800. Already it's calculated. It's different from that one where you're given a percentage, then you calculate the percentage, then you subtract. Already here, they calculated the deposit for us. So the difference in this case was going to give us the balance, which is 7,200. That is what we can get from these two. All right. Then we are given, and then pays 36 monthly payments of, what is it that is paid? Be there the accumulated amount with the interest. That accumulated amount is the one that is being paid for 36 months. But each month, Mike is going to pay 344 rand for these 36 months. This is that accumulated amount with an interest in it. So he's going to pay how much at the end? He's going to pay 12,384. Already the interest is in this amount. Remember, this is the accumulated amount with interest. So the question was now calculate the simple interest rate, meaning to say calculate I in that case. Remember, this is simple interest that you're supposed to consider. So already we have got, remember the balance, like I said, from that formula, the balance represents the principal. We have the amount in this case. Already this is accumulated, the one that is supposed to pay. The number of years from the 36 monthly repayments, so 36 divided by 12, how many years? 3 years. So we have got the number of years, which is 3. So from this, we can calculate I, which is the interest rate, because we understand under simple interest that amount is equal to P into 1 plus I. And I talked about this on the introduction of the simple interest, how to calculate I in that case. In that case, just simply substitute your values, the amount that you are given, 12,384 is equal to the principal, our P, which is your balance, 7,200 into 1 plus IN in that case, the number of years, which is 3 times the interest. Remember this I that we are given here, it was written as a decimal. Remember when you substitute there, it was a decimal, which was percentage given, which was divided by 100. And I talked about this, that you have to multiply by 100 on your answer. So dividing by 7,200 both sides, divide by 7,200 both sides, this was going to give us an exact decimal. Like I said, if the decimal that you obtain there is ending, that's an exact decimal, right, as it is. So it was going to give us 1,72, which is equal to, thus we've got a 1 when you divide it here. So it's 1 times 1, which is 1, expand, distribute the bracket. 1 times 3i, which is 3i in that case. Remember I being the interest rate. So you can take this 1 to the other side, it becomes a minus 1 there. So that's 1,72 minus 1, which is 0,72 equal to 3i. So to have this value of I, we can simply divide this by 3. Thus, we are going to obtain our I in this case as a decimal. So this will give us a decimal. So that decimal that you're going to have from this 0,72 over 3, whatever that you have there, multiply it by 100%. This is supposed to be a percentage. Remember, this interest, when you're substituting here into this formula, you were dividing the given percentage by 100. Now is the opposite. For you to have that percentage back, you multiply by 100%. So by multiplying by 100%, that is going to give us the percentage that was going to be 24. The first part was going to be 0.24 like that. If you multiply by 100, that was going to give us 24% as the simple interest rate at which that balance or the principal here, this balance was going to increase to this amount. That is the idea of this question. So higher purchase, go back to the simple interest. We are still under our simple interest, the application of the simple interest formula. So you just need to go back to the introduction. Remember, we had the introduction of the simple interest. Make sure that you go through questions, revisions on simple interest. And now you can even revise question papers from this part.